the fun part. It's like we sit in the standby. I think I actually do. There we go. Here now. Look at her. She's just like smiling. You could go enable the chair collider. Yeah, I see you squatting and standing up, squatting and standing up. I think the better option would be enabling the chairs. So there's a toggle up on the control panel, and there's like one is specifically for chairs, and it'll let you just sit on flat surfaces. Okay. We are still on standby, but we are going live here really shortly. You could even, there's a sitting position right next to me right here. Right here is a square. Hi. Probably gonna scoot. Why are you just like permanently smiling? I'm gonna scoot a little bit closer to Fobsty. No, you should not move. There you go, perfect. This is good here. That's good there. That should be screaming. I'll be upset if the air link fails. Okay, we're going live. So as per the usual, it's gonna be the monologue to begin with. Like it's gonna be like 10 minutes rambling on about a certain subject that we selected. So let me get the stream in the live condition. Nope. The stream can definitely hear you through Discord right now. Your VR chat mic should be open. something. Let me see if you. There you go. So let me just mute you here. There you go. So now, no. So now your mouth can move and I can still hear you and blah blah. You get it. Okay. Alright. Okay, and we are in the live condition. Welcome to Woof Radio, episode 3. Today we're going to be talking about boundaries. Just not really in general, but more boundaries as it pertains to the furry community and our wonderful members, the furries. So, we've got Frosty in second chair, as always, our trusty co-pilot. And I'm Nitro Wolf, your host. And in third chair today, we have a synonym. Okay. For the usual fashion, I'm going to start off by doing a little 10-minute rant, a little 10-minute monologue about the subject I've selected today, and that's boundaries. I don't really script these, so these are open mic. These are just whatever comes out. So typically, what I think about when it comes to boundaries is the everyday interactions with people when they like you and want to be either your friend or want to go beyond that. And furries are notorious for the whole UURP, and it's like it's a meme at this point, but it's become more of a socialization issue where nobody wants to deal with it, but nobody really points out what the issues are. So what I want to highlight is basically the social contract and how you should be acting when you're coming up to these new situations. You should be gauging what the other person is like and what they present themselves as right off the bat. So like if they have, friendly in bio, DMs open, like sure, go for it, but just be aware that you really shouldn't be going all out right off the start unless you really have like a lot in common and you can kind of prove it. Like most people, if you really like something, like you have an interest in common, like if you come off way too hard, people will retract. They'll just be like, wow, this guy's a weirdo, like he is way too hard into this interaction, like I was not ready for this today. Like most people kind of just want a chill back and forth to start, and it can be small talk, but it doesn't have to be small talk. Like you can sway it to where it's more interest specific. And when it becomes a problem is when people skip over too many steps and they immediately start acting like they're your best friend, like they're already inside your circle and you just met them. Like it's literally only being like 30 minutes and they're already trying to get into your personal Discord. Like they're, asking you all these personal questions, and you really have to be careful about that. You have to consider your privacy level, which is part of those boundaries, is how much do you want to give people who aren't that close to you. You have to protect yourself from these acquaintances because you never know when somebody's like trying to social engineer themselves into your life, and you never know who's there to hurt you. Like somebody could just be trying to get close to you just to get information. And sometimes, I get it. You're probably not, handling classified documents, but, our everyday lives to us are important. and it could be just as harmful to our individual lives rather than like a work position. Like I don't want everybody to know where I live. I don't want everybody to know like what my opinions and what my, you know, place of employment is. I'd rather be more ambiguous. I'd rather be more of a, I guess, a permanent character for the online forum. But I am this character. This is me. I directly identify with Nitro. So that said, part of my boundaries is that when you insult Nitro Wolf, you're kind of insulting me personally, because this is a character I created to identify myself in the furry community in a permanent way. This isn't like a throwaway character. This isn't, you know, I'm not the type of person to go through like 20 different characters and like swap one out like whenever I just get bored or something. Yes, I do have other characters. I'm not that boring. I have supporting characters. But to tie it all back in, I act within certain limits, within certain boundaries, as I would in real life when I'm Nitro. So I have that sense of permanence, so I'm not going to like be obscenely rude to somebody, because in real life I wouldn't just be completely rude to somebody I just met. So that's something that also needs to be addressed is when somebody is friendly to you, that doesn't mean that you have to go ahead to do whatever you want. Like that doesn't mean that you should, try to step inside the circle. Don't force them into, the interaction. Like if you feel like they don't want to be there, like maybe you should start backing up. Because, I've been in plenty of situations where I'm trying to have a conversation with somebody and they just cannot hold the conversation. Like it's all just me putting in all the energy, and this other person just kind of starts shutting down. They're giving me like 3-word responses when I'm like typing in like 2 or 3 sentences, and it's just like at that point it's like you need to start backing off. Like that's not working. That's not a good interaction. Like don't waste your time. Definitely like find places where you feel accepted. You don't have to be an equal. And that's something you need to understand when it comes to boundaries. Not everybody is going to treat you as an equal because you're not quite in the circle yet. You need to slowly feel your way around the relationship, around the friendship, like what type of friendship it is and what the boundaries of that friendship are. And that includes stuff like the degradation talk, like when we have these groups of friends that'll call themselves pieces of shit, like moron, idiot, like, hey, what's up, cocksucker? And it's like, that's not my type of relationship. I have never had a successful relationship with anybody where my introductions or exits with those people are degradations. That's just not for me. So you need to be aware of that. Like, you can't just drop something like that on somebody. Like, if you start with somebody who's like really friendly and never really swears around you, and then one day you're just like, hey, you fucking bitch, what's up? Chances are that person's gonna be pretty offended. Like, if you do that with me, I'm going to take that as disrespect, and I'm sorry, but I don't care what your intention was. Like, the problem becomes that you decided to test the water by throwing in a stick of TNT into the water. Like, that's not respectful for me. Like, at least give me a warning, like, hey, how do you feel about pet names? How do you feel about me calling you a piece of shit? And I'm gonna tell you, hey, are you okay? Like, we haven't talked like this in like 3 months. Like, why are you being like this all of a sudden? And then, bam, right then and there, you discover a boundary. So that's the thing. It's like, don't get it confused with people who set their boundaries so strictly that it becomes walking on eggshells. That is also not healthy. You can't have your boundaries so tightened up while trying to make friends because that sets you up for failure in that walking on eggshell scenario. And that's just you can't that's not a healthy mentality to be in where you're constantly tailoring your words, you're constantly tailoring your behavior for this specific person because ultimately it's gonna drain you emotionally and mentally and you're gonna end up not being you. You're gonna end up being like this puppet that you created specifically for that person. What other examples can I give you about boundaries? That was a big one, but yeah, it's like when people just try to shove themselves in. They try to insert themselves into your hierarchy of friendship, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't like to hear that. They don't like to hear that most people function on hierarchies. But unfortunately, that's just how we're naturally built. Like in our heads, we have this little hierarchy that we create. And to give an example, Frosty is my intimate relationship, so she has the highest security clearance for me. Like she knows everything about me in the most intimate level. Like she's the number one. Like she's inside my bubble. Like we're basically the same person. So that said is when somebody insults her, they're insulting me. When somebody invites her and doesn't invite me, or the other way around, it's an insult to the other person. So that's how we see it. Not every relationship is that way, but that's the magic of setting boundaries and people being dynamic and different. So you can't just assume. Like there's baselines you can go off of. We're all pretty, just go the safe route. Just assume if, you're inviting one person, you kind of have to suggest it to the other person. Yes, there are situations, like, do not get me wrong, there are situations where, when it comes to couples, there are boundaries within us where I might ask to go on like a trip by myself. Like let me give me a quick example. It's like, oh, it's my brother's birthday and it's my brother and my other brother and my dad, and it's like a boys' night or something. We're all going to Dave and Buster's. At that point, I have to say, hey, Frosty, like, I'm sorry I can't take you this time, but this is what I'm doing and this is who I'm going with. I promise I'll keep you posted, and I hope you can find plans for yourself. And if you don't have plans for yourself, I can help you figure out what you can do while I'm gone. But, we don't have to be completely attached to each other. It's just, when you do it, when it's coming from somewhere else, and they're assuming that, oh, screw this partner, I don't want anything to do with her, I only want Nitro Wolf. Like, that's not okay. Like, you have to word it in a way where she's included, because she is my other half. So, what else? Boop, 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 boop. Oh no, the music in the world? You should have interrupted. See, this is what I was talking about. You're the number one, and you failed me. I can't believe you. No, definitely interrupt. If there's any technical issues, you need to say something. There was some background music playing from the standby, but I didn't think it was going to be that loud. Well, we need to figure out how to put the chat within our Oculus control. Along with hand tracking. She's doing it. She's doing it. She's got the hand tracking right there. I can't start this over. Don't tell me. I can't start this over. I need another shot. Somebody get me a shot stat. I mean, I know you two heard me. At least you two got it. I I I do have you. I do have you on this. You know what it is? Say something. Ah, hang on. I know exactly what the problem is here. I know exactly what's the problem. It's not routing the audio from Discord. There you go. Say something.
I'm talking. I'm talking.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so those are resolved. Now the Discord audio is at full volume, so they should be able to hear you perfectly fine because I can hear you perfectly fine.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a little clearer.
Cool. But yeah, I guess to piggyback off of you,
I could start over. I could literally simplify it.
yeah, you
You want to give us a
can
TLDR?
cliff
Okay.
notes.
Welcome to Woof Radio, episode 3. I'm your host, Nitro Wolf. In first chair, which is also second chair. I guess I'm in the first chair. She's in the second chair. It's our trusty co-pilot, Frosty, the Arctic Wolf.
Yay!
And today, in third chair, we have Synonym.
Hey.
Say hello.
Hi, I'm Cinnamon.
She's a little bit shy, but all right. So our topic for today is going to be.
There we go. Much better. Okay, good.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for the technical support. We are here for you. I mean, technically, I'm here for me, for you, who is here for me, you know. But all right. Where was I going?
Cliff notes
Episode
version of
3,
boundaries.
We are covering boundaries today, as it pertains to the furry fandom, and our experiences with boundaries coming from external sources and our internal sources. So boundaries with other people, boundaries amongst ourselves, and how I feel about it all, and what the appropriate actions would be to improve the communication and boundaries within the relationships that you're trying to start, which, that also encompasses friendship. So, to simplify it all, because I don't want to go through another whole 15-minute spill, I'm going to do like 5 minutes. Basically, we're all aware of the whole, random furry that comes up to your DMs and says, "Hi, Uwu, do you RP?" And then you for whatever reason that day you decided you were feeling really nice and you said, "Yeah, sure." Haha hee hee. Pat your head, tail wag. So the appropriate course of action would have been to just block that person. First of all, just block that person. You don't want that interaction. Like, I understand some of my viewers are still in the age bracket where they're going to be role playing, but I'm going to admit to you right now, I'm a lot older where I don't feel I have the time to engage in role play. Like, back when I did have time to engage in roleplay, I was dropping like paragraphs at a time. And it would chew up like 6 to 8 hours for me to get through like one roleplay. So I was super dedicated about making sure I was putting out quality product for whoever I was like role playing with. So I can't do that anymore. So when I see somebody trying to role play and they like drop like 3 letters or like 3 words in their little action role play, I'm like, I can't do this. Like that's that. Ew. Anyways, yeah, part of boundaries is understanding that your time is valuable. So you need to make sure that you set the appropriate boundaries between you and strangers because you want to retain your time. You need that time for yourself. You need that time for like meaningful interaction, basically. And I don't think Ulu do URP is a meaningful interaction. I mean, you might, but I don't. When it comes to people trying to be friends with you and they come on too strong, uh, that's a little bit scary for most people. A lot of people do not like the straightforward approach. I have done it before, but I've always had some sort of foundation to go off of where it's like, all right, I have these 3 things in common. I'm going to list them off to you. Like, hey, we both like Neopets. We were both on DeviantArt in like 2012, and we're both wolves. Let's be friends. So, you know, you gotta find your common interests, and you gotta like measure out where the people you're talking to are comfortable. You can't go too strong. You can't go too weak, because I've been in the situation where, you know, I'm writing like 3 sentences and I get a reply back of like 3 words. And that's not a good conversation to be in. Like, that person is definitely not engaging you at the same energy level you are. And you're not always going to be equally matching with people. Like, obviously you're going to have friends that are going to be a lot more low energy, and you're going to have friends that are, you know, going to match your energy. And then sometimes you're going to have friends that overwhelm you with like 6 paragraphs of text when you just woke up in the morning and you're just trying to get to work, and they're sending you like a whole novel, and you're like, dude, like, I can't handle this right now. Like, let me just leave you on read for like 12 hours and I'll get back to it. So you need to understand what type of friendship and relationships you're in. I have, you know, the hierarchy of relationships and friendships. What I was saying earlier, just recap quickly. This is Frosty, and she is my intimate relationship. She is inside my bubble. You know, we're the same person. We've decided to bring each other together to the same side. You know, same coin, 2 sides. So if somebody insults her, they're insulting me. If I get insulted, I mean, I don't know if she's getting insulted. Probably.
Yeah, no, in recent events, yes, I feel insulted too.
Right. So, and then you have your more outer circle, your closer friends, which I consider synonym being a much closer friend than, you know, the other outer circles. So, and you need to measure these things, and boundaries also help with your privacy. The amount of information that you're putting out about yourself. You don't want to give out too much about your personal world to everybody. You have to pick and choose. You, like I said, you only have so much time. You need to be wise about where you're using your time. You can't have emotional sinks all the time. You can't surround yourself with all these people that always take, and they never give back. Because you're just going to end up getting sunk with them. And I will admit, I'm not perfect. I have destroyed some friendships literally just because I was a time sink. Because I just would not shut my mouth. And I've gotten better about it. There's times where I go off on rants, and like Sin has had to tell me like, "Hey, you need to shut up and go relax or something." And I'm like, you know what? Fine, fine. You win, and I'm just, I'm all frazzled and angry, and I go off and just mind my own business for like a day or two. And that's what you need to do sometimes. You just need to disconnect from all this like negativity, and you need to be clear with your friends or the people that you think are your friends about those boundaries of like how much they're giving and taking, both in time and emotion. You can't just leave everything open, because if you have no boundaries, you're gonna end up being a doormat. Everybody's gonna step on you, and when it's your turn to ask something from them, they're just like, "Oh, I'm busy. I'm on VR chat with somebody else today," and you're just gonna be left there, you know, sopping wet in the shower, crying by yourself, and there's not gonna be anybody there for you, and you're gonna be sitting there saying, "Why did I help these like 10 people when nobody wants me?" And you can't tell me that doesn't happen, because I keep seeing it on Twitter. I see all these people, with 10,000 followers, 20,000 followers, and they're always like, putting up these posts where they're like pretending they're all lonely and that nobody fucking cares about them. It's like, why? Like, at that point, you really need to self-reflect and think about the quality of your friendships and the quality of your relationships. Like, that's not stuff you should be saying. Um, until something else hits me, I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna let Frosty like just say some words in response to whatever she wants to say. Her experiences with this.
Yeah. Basically, I'm like the opposite of Nitro in the sense that I have no sort of boundaries, or I had no sort of boundaries before meeting him. Like, when I was younger, and we were talking earlier about this, but like, growing up as a kid, going through middle school, high school, I wanted to be everyone's friend. I wanted to have zero enemies. I hated the idea of knowing that somebody didn't like me. And like, it used to bother me so much. And like, I was like, I just want the world to be a happy place where we could all be friends together. And it's like, that is not how the real world works. And like, it totally shattered me multiple times throughout life. Like, there's no single moment where I realized this. It just kept happening to me over and over, where people were basically just using and abusing me, and like abusing my friendship, and just like my trust that I allowed for everybody to have. Like, pretty much a stranger could be in my DMs, and I'll be like telling them my whole life story, and then they're like, "Oh wow, okay, that's cool." And then like they disappear, and I'm like, "Oh shit, like I just revealed a bunch of secrets that now this person like knows about," and it felt like terrible. So, yeah, like it's really bad to not have boundaries, and this is something that I'm learning like as I'm getting older, and especially within this year alone, I've realized this. Like, I can't just be my genuine self to everybody. Like, you kind of have to just, as much as you want to be friends with people, like if you're looking for friends, like you need to like kind of close yourself off a little bit, and for your own safety, honestly, and just kind of feel people out first, and like not dive head first into the ooh woo, like we're besties, like I love you, like kissy kissy, like that shouldn't happen to everybody. Like, it should only happen to like like genuine friends, really. And like, these friendships happen naturally. You can try forcing friendships, but for at least from my experience, every forced friendship that I've had, it just usually doesn't work out like the way that I want it to. But like, yeah. Um and like, I think also another reason why like I felt this way my whole life was because I didn't have siblings growing up. I grew up by myself, and I really childhood friends, I think I only had like two or three, honestly. It was sad. But like, wasn't able to develop like actual bonds at an early age, and I think that kind of screwed me when I got older because here I am like trying to be friends with everybody and it's like, whoa, no, this is not right. Like that's not the way that you're supposed to do things because guess what? You end up getting hurt a lot of the time. And aka doormat. I am doormat Frosty. Like if you need me, I am here for you all the time. And it's like, oh fuck, like who's here for me? Like so yeah,
Definitely not anymore. Because if you try to
yeah,
use her as a doormat, I'm gonna come and tackle you and take you out. Like that's not gonna work anymore. So
yeah. And it's like and that's not to say like, oh, like don't approach me at all. Like by all means, like I'm okay with talking to people. I'm just gonna be a lot more reserved and I guess more private until we like I don't know if like we hit it off or like we find more things in common with each other and you start going through the ranks of friendship because I never knew about this hierarchy thingy that Nitro like was talking about until like this year. And I was like, wow, this makes sense. Like instead of having everyone in the intimate circle, I should have like, you know, dedicated
yeah, really, you should
yeah.
have like 4 or 5 circles. And the way I quantify it, like I just like make it simple, is like you have your one intimate relationship, and if
Mhm.
you really want to, extend it, if you're that type of person and you want to explore polyamory, you can make it 2. If you really
Yeah.
want to stretch it thinner, you can make it 3. But typically, you have your inner circle, which is your intimate, then you have your close friends, which I'll move that a circle back. So you have your best friends,
Mhm.
which can also be your confidants, which are people you can trust, that you can tell them your deepest darkest secrets, and they're not gonna judge you. They're gonna guide you in the right direction, but they're not gonna smash you on the spot. Which I know for sure, Frosty. You've had people who you thought were confidants, and then you told them your secrets, and they literally smashed you on the spot.
Oh, 100%,
So
yeah.
that's something important you need to understand, is that not every best friend is also a confidant.
Mhm.
And in some situations, not all confidants are a two-way road. Like, a confidant can, usually what it is, it's like a mentor. Somebody who's a lot older than you. Like, let's take for example, if like my grandmother was still alive and she had like all this wisdom to impart to me, and I could trust her with my secrets, she would be my confidant. But she's not gonna be an equal to me. She's not gonna tell me her stories where she's in drama or whatever, or
Mhm.
her marital issues. She's not gonna do that. So she's a confidant to me, but I'm not a confidant to her. So that does work out that way sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you have your best friends, then you have your close friends, then you have, just friends. Then you have people who are like more shallow. They're like shallow friends. And if you need some examples, shallow friends, and I have quite a few of these, are people who just want to get high and don't get into drama, and they just, want to go to bars and go dance and have fun, and sometimes they want more. They want to skip right to the intimate circle. Uh, but they're shallow. They don't want. They don't really want anything to do with your life. They just want you for fun, and that's okay. That's okay as long as you maintain your boundaries and you have clear consent about everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And then past that, past shallow friendships and acquaintanceships, there's the general public, everybody
Stranger
else.
danger. Yeah. Um, I was gonna say, Letzo says, I agree. Friendships do take time to build and get comfortable with hanging out and talking with others. So yeah, 100%. Like you can't just go head first into a stranger and be like, "We're best friends." Like, I mean, props to you if you can do that, if you have the mental capacity to do that. But like, it's no, it's usually just a recipe for disaster. So, but yeah, like. It's definitely like a learning experience, just friendships in general. But yeah.
Sin,
Yeah. What's
do you
up?
have your 2 cents? Do you have your
I
change ready?
do.
I'm
I
ready
have
to
some.
your pennies.
I have probably like a full dime for this one.
Ooh,
Um,
I am ready.
there's just listening to you guys talk. There's quite the intersection between boundaries, privacy, and trust, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think it's pretty obvious to me that boundaries are a means of keeping private certain things and learning to or deciding not to trust other people, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of like I'm a huge proponent, right, of the way that you allow others to treat you tells them how they can continue to treat you, right? Like people will treat you the way that you allow.
Yeah.
So if you have
Mhm.
really, really harsh boundaries, you're going to find you don't have a lot of people hanging out with you. But they're going to be higher quality, right? You're going to have really, really close friends, which is maybe like two or three. But if you have like a complete inability to trust others, you're going to find yourself lonely. Whereas if you trust too many people, you're going to end up with a lot of like acquaintances, like those shallow friendships where other people don't really know you very well. You don't feel seen. You don't feel heard super well. You don't really have a support system in place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And funnily enough, Nitro, you're talking about circles, and there are actually like social circles based off of how physically close you allow people to get to you, like in social settings. So,
Oh,
how
like the
close someone
personal
stands to
bubble?
you, yeah, like
Yeah.
that's a real thing. Like, how close someone stands to you, or whether or not they hug you, or any of that actually says a lot about the space that you're in with the person and a lot about the relationship that you have with them.
Mhm.
So, it's like, this is like an interior design architecture principle based off of like
Wow.
space planning and understanding relationships between people as they happen in space. You have like a close circle of maybe 5 people. You have a larger circle of maybe 8 people. 12 people is where the friend cutoff kind of is, 12 to 15. From there, you have like largely acquaintances and then just people you run into who you're friendly with, making up the general community. And anything more than like 50 to 75 people is just, around. They're just people you recognize and see. Because
Yeah.
people don't realize it, but you really only have the capacity for about 120 relationships at any given time.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a
I
lot.
struggle. I struggle past like 20. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I got like 5.
I was just about to say I struggle at like 5.
And
Yeah.
like shit is hard. It's
Mhm.
really hard to develop like these different layers of like social engagement with others when you don't have it modeled for you really well. And I don't think I know anybody who's had that modeled appropriately. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Right. Like.
how do you have correct boundaries to be able to trust people enough to confide in them without shit happening? It doesn't happen very often.
No.
Mhm.
Right. And it's like that's the thing is. I don't want to be. I don't want to just like generalize things, but what I've noticed is a lot of people are in our boat, where we're in the 25 to like I don't know 25 to 34 bracket, where we're learning these things just by sheer experience. We're like brute forcing this stuff. Like we're trying to rebuild a functional state of adulthood just just by like trial and error at this point. And like when I'm like books, I'm like reading books. I'm like reading articles and stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be this way. Whoa! But when we were all younger, we were doing this trial and error, but like blindfolded, and we were just letting everybody else basically take the lead. So it's like you have the people that are just like overwhelmingly full of like this, I guess, leadership spotlight. So they just like overwhelm
Charisma.
all the circles and they just sweep all the circles in their direction and everybody else just follows.
Mhm.
And now it's like all those people have kind of just faded away. So it's almost like a second chance to start, you know. I'm not trying to say like it's not like a second chance for me to be the center of attention, but it's a second chance for me to actually, I guess, make friends that I want to be friends with rather than being swept into by somebody else.
So I
Yeah,
think.
and that's. Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
okay. I was going to say, well, I think the thing that happens too, 25 to 34, that's out of college, into your first real jobs, actually settling a little bit into adulthood, being like, oh shit, I don't know how to do fucking anything.
Yeah,
And like
Yeah.
relearning all of these things. Because you have like the popular people in high school, you have like the charismatic leaders at work, but learning how to just like come into your own and like be able to make organic relationships is something that I feel like pretty much everyone figures out in their late 20s or starts to.
yeah,
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, and it ties into like personality too, because like, at least when I was younger, I was incredibly, what's the word? Passive, like incredibly, again, just doormat is just the perfect like example, because it's like I could not say no to people at all, and I still like to this day have a hard time saying no to people, but it's why are you pointing at me?
that's a big part of boundaries is saying no.
Right.
It's what I'm
And
saying. Take control of your very limited time. Say no when you have to.
mhm. And
Hmm.
it's like it goes back to like with how people like treat you. Like I had a lot of friends growing up that we would just shit talk on each other all the time, and it was just how we were. Like we'd be like, hey, what's up, loser, or like, hey, sup, dickhole. Like, and like honestly, like now as an adult, like it's like, I mean, by adult, I mean like past age 25, where like I think I'm mentally gonna stay this way for the rest of my life. But like it's like now I don't really care for that anymore. I don't really care for the jokes and the like, the playful like just bullshittery. And it's like just some people just don't grow out of that. And that's not a person that I really want to surround myself anymore. But there again, it took me to 27 years old for me to realize this, that that's not what I want. So it's like
Yeah,
it's definitely like a time thing, like a like life
Yeah.
experience thing.
yeah, and you're starting to realize, and I don't want to insult anybody. Like, if you're living with your parents, it's okay. You know, I guess sometimes we can't all just leave the nest at the same time. But it's like when you lose those freebies, when you lose the freebie supports of your parents just taking care of you all the time, having you, within arm's reach where they can always just help you out, like, hey, mom, uh, can you come pick me up? I'm, you know, I'm shit faced at this party and I need a pickup because I can't afford an Uber because I'm broke. And then your mom's
Mhm.
like, okay, I guess I'll pick you up. Or stuff like that, like, and you have a place to sleep where you're not paying for rent. Like, life is a lot different. I'm just gonna say that, like, you know, there's people that their only concern is how they're gonna get high and have a blast with their friends because they have a support where they don't have to worry about these things. And
Mhm.
I, unfortunately, it's like I'm not trying to say they're not adults, but it's like they're facing a completely different set of challenges where they don't have to take these shallow friendships seriously.
Mhm.
I think what you might be trying to say is that they don't get pushed into situations where they have to develop emotional maturity.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
That's basically what I'm trying to say. Is like there's no environmental pressure, telling them like, hey, you know, if you don't get straightened out, you're gonna end up on the street and say goodbye to getting high with all your friends all the time.
Right. And not even that, but like time management. Like as a
Oof,
as an adult working a 40, 50-hour job,
awful.
like Right. Like, I just don't have time. Like, I will read people's messages and totally I will pass out. I will, like, just completely forget. Like, I go through the work week and, like, I just feel terrible because I usually have to follow up on my weekends with people. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh shit, like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, I totally thought I responded to you, but I clearly didn't. And I like, fell asleep or something because I'm so tired from working and like just trying to provide. Oh no, what happened? There you go.
Nature's glitching.
Uh,
Yeah. But yeah, like it's definitely a time thing. Like when you don't have like a job or like just responsibilities, you have more freedom to like make more friends and keep up with more people. I feel like because that's how I felt like when I was a teen. I felt like I had just a bunch of friends and like, oh my God, I'm texting like everybody and I have all the time in the world to like text these people. And it's like now it's like, oh no, I barely have time for myself. Like,
Yep. And if you're not
yeah,
like spending that time taking care of yourself, you're doing chores or you're doing dishes or you're
right.
vacuuming or you're doing laundry.
or
Yeah.
you're doing
And
your
it's like what
taxes, or you're trying to figure out where to get an emissions because you need to renew your registration.
Oh my God. Yeah. That was so frustrating earlier. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so let's wrap it up.
Ooh.
It's a good talk. Conclusion: boundaries are important because you need your privacy. You need to stay safe out there. Your time is limited. You need to learn how to say no. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's terrifying. Sometimes it's terrifying to say no, but you need to start identifying who is stepping over your boundaries, and you need to start, clearly speaking those boundaries. And if these people don't agree with those boundaries, maybe they really aren't your friends. Maybe they don't really want the best for you.
Right.
Like, like I said earlier with the example with Sin, if she says like, "Hey, you're taking way too much time out of my day. Can you just go relax or something?" Like you keep saying the same thing like over and over and over, and I say, "No, screw you. You're gonna listen to what I'm saying." You know that
I'm just gonna
that's
mute you.
that's clearly
Mute forever.
like disrespecting her wishes because she clearly told me that she wasn't gonna put up with me just going in a circle over and over and
It's
over. So
communicating a need and setting a boundary.
yeah,
Right.
so
And
Yeah.
then on top of that, you can't take that personally because
Yeah.
as someone who takes everything personally, which I'm still working on, like eh, people like for the most part don't mean ill will when they set a boundary. It's like, "Oh, okay. I respect that. Like I respect that you need time." And, vice versa. If I tell somebody that like, "Hey, like Saturdays are my days for myself. Like please don't text me." I would expect that person to be like, oh, okay, yeah, see you on Sunday, like, or just to,
Yeah.
respect the boundary there.
I
and
once
that's
heard
that
someone describe oh,
that's that
I was gonna say I
like
once
I was gonna say like for the furry community at large, there is a point where you may want a friendship with somebody and it's just never gonna work out. And what I mean by that is if somebody is like super popular, they probably have like 300 people asking for friendship like all the time. So, yeah, don't take it personally if they reject
Mm-hmm.
you. Like they just don't have time for you. Chances are, like we were talking about earlier, they already have their 10 people that they care about.
Right.
So, I, I guess shoot within your range. Unfortunately, that's just how life works. Is you gotta stay realistic. Don't try to go be friends with an artist that has 30,000 followers. That's not gonna work out for you. Like for you to like stand out, you yourself would have to probably be a 30,000 follower artist.
Mm-hmm. Or just like provide something of equal, I guess, value.
Right, which at that
Yeah.
point it's almost impossible. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
and
You
I
have to make
say
friends with people you have commonalities with.
Yeah.
and it's like it's such a bad look, and if you do it publicly, I'm gonna tell you right now, every time you do it and people see it, it destroys your chances for like genuine friendship, because you just come off as like a dysfunctional individual who is having these like psychotic outbursts in the public space. And what I'm talking about, it's like, yeah, like on Twitter, like when people like post like, I've been sending you DMs, I don't understand why you don't like reply to me. Like, I've sent you like five, and I sent you on Discord, on Telegram, I've added you on Instagram, and like you still don't respond. It's like all that's doing is it's making you look like a psycho. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
Obsessive.
nobody
Yeah.
wants to be around someone like that. Like
Right.
patience. Patience is key. Like shoot for the appropriate range, and then patience. Don't try to skip too many steps. If you skip too many steps, you're gonna end up shooting yourself in the foot, and the other person's gonna end up retracting because they're gonna be scared. Like I almost, I don't know. I guess I had enough charisma where Sin didn't like run away, but
I kept you at like a distance for like probably a solid 3 months before I was like, okay, this person's not crazy. He just info dumped on me like insanely hard at first.
so yeah, that was the thing, is I did do that for a couple, maybe like 6 months. Is I was completely, absolutely being authentic with people, and it, it kind of worked. Like my success rate with that was like 90%. But like I said, I found the common interests. I made sure that person, was receptive. Like if, somebody wasn't giving me the energy that I was giving them, I was like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, I got it wrong, but it's nice to meet you. Hopefully in the future, we can interact some more, but, have a good day. Catch you later. Goodbye.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And yeah, it sucks and it hurts, and it's part of rejection, and you just have to take it sometimes. You just have to get rejected and be pouty and angry for like 2 weeks, but eventually you'll be okay.
Yeah. Let's
Because
says
yeah,
I
I've
agree with that too. A friendship is
Yeah.
more able to click if you find things you have in common with each other for sure.
Yeah. That's why you make friends with people in college who have the same classes, or you go to the same coffee shop as someone and you just like start talking to them. That's how you
Yeah.
make friends organically. It's
Mhm.
hard though. It's like much more difficult than doing it online.
Oh yeah.
is it is it
Well, yeah, cuz you're
Maybe not
face
for
to
you.
face.
maybe not for you, Nitro, but
Yeah.
for the rest of us, a little.
Well, like I said, it depends on the level of friendship. It depends on the investment you want to put in. Like, I can make shallow friendships all day, every day for weeks. And at one point, I did. I did. Like at FWA. When I went to FWA, I literally made a shallow friendship with this girl, literally because I liked her fursuit, and I was like, hey, I hear you're having some cash issues. Here's $40. Go buy yourself some stuff at the artist alley. And then we became friends. But big note, big note.
Don't just give people money.
Be careful of buying friends, because then if you do it too much, they always expect money.
Mhm.
True.
Yes, which I have been in that situation, and I've actually gotten friend dumped over not consistently providing like monetary support, which I am not um, obligated to, consistently provide financial support to anybody other than like Frosty.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, I
I
mean,
have one more thing.
it doesn't always have to be cash. You don't, it could be something simple like
Could be art.
grab
One thing was food for me. I had a lot of
right.
friends that depended on me for food. And like, "Hey, can we go out? Let's hang out. Oh, but can you buy me lunch?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, sure. $20, $20, 20." And it's like, "Dang, like when's somebody going to pay for my lunch?" Like,
Yeah, if they're not reciprocating the nice things you do for them, it's like not a real equal friendship.
right.
Yeah, because that was another thing is like if there's a Starbucks in the hotel, like at FWA, like there was a few people where I was like, hey, I like talking to you. You want to, continue this conversation while we talk to Starbucks? I'll buy you a coffee nut latte. And you just keep things going, and you kind of entice them with a, Starbucks.
The free
Mhm.
Starbies.
Yeah,
Everyone
free
loves the free
Starbucks.
Starbies. Everyone loves the free Starbies.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there's things you can do to sweeten the deal. It's just if you have, I'm saying you gotta find something interesting to talk about. If you're boring, I'm sorry, but most people are just gonna they're just gonna run away, basically.
You
Mhm.
have to give people things to like feed off of. You can't just like give like the tiniest snippet about yourself. You have to be like, for example, if you liked knitting, you could
Give them your
probably be
whole
like,
life story.
yeah, that. Or just like
No,
something
don't
interesting
do
about
that.
something you're doing. Like, if you're talking to someone and you're like explaining where you live, you have to give them like a fun fact about where you live that they could possibly like leech off of and continue the conversation. You have to leave like little crumbs to follow in a
Mhm.
conversation sometimes in order
You
to
have to get
like
out there.
develop a
You
friendship.
Yeah, you have to get out there. Like do things. Like this
Leave
doesn't
the house.
specifically pertain to like boundaries and stuff, but it does pertain to like making friendships. It's like add stuff to your storybook. Like Frosty and I just recently went over to the Shenandoah Cavern, and that was an amazing experience, and that's something I can like talk to you about. How it's just this amazing experience where you just have like a one-to-one with a bunch of rocks, and you're just like, what the hell? Like, how does that happen? Like, rocks are generally boring, but when you're down there in the caverns, it's like, holy shit! Like, this is nature. Like, I am one with the rocks.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe nature's not everybody's cup of tea. So like, if they don't seem receptive to that, hit them with a good old, "Hey, you got a Twitter? Let me check your life." Just kidding. Don't do
God,
that.
don't
Yeah.
do that.
Actually, you try to keep Twitter out of it as much as you can.
In the real world, nobody worth talking to is on Twitter or talks about Twitter.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a lot of my like coworker friends like have no idea the life that I live on Twitter. Like they're just normies and like that's totally fine. I will totally be a normie with them.
They don't need to know.
Right. And it's like if
Yeah.
they do want to know, they can ask. Because a lot of the time, I've had a few normie friends now like stumble across me on social media, and it's like, Frosty, what are you actually into? And it's like, oh, well, since you opened the door, and since we have this established connection already of being in the real world, then we can talk about like other things. So it's like, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
scary. That's scary. Because like most people make too many assumptions about Twitter profiles, and that's another issue uh, that comes with the furry community when stuff on Twitter crosses over into like the con space.
Bleh.
Oh,
Like
like in real world, yeah, yeah.
right, it's like when we were at Fogo de Chao, when we were at Anthropon.
Ethercon.
There was people there at Fogo de Chao that had me blocked on Twitter.
They were right next to us, and they did not even look at you.
They
Right.
were. Well, that's the thing. It's like, uh, people block each other without even knowing who they are. So if these situations come up, um, and you two have blocked each other at some point for whatever reason, it's gonna be extremely awkward when you're both standing
Yup.
there in person and you're like, "Oh, you blocked me."
Let it block you. Yeah.
It sounds like a Black Mirror episode.
There is actually a Black Mirror episode about blocking in real life,
Oh, that's funny.
Huh.
and it's horrifying, and I hate it. I actually hate that episode a lot.
There's a reason I don't watch Black Mirror, and it's because I don't need to think about those problems very often. I'm good.
Yeah, a lot of it
Yeah.
is like it's like psychological downers.
So Twitter, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because like every episode is basically like, hey, this is probably where we're headed. I hope you enjoy it.
Let me tell you another thing you should be worried about.
It's like, why? I didn't even think about that. Like, no.
I'm good.
No, I was happy in my ignorance.
Right.
That's why I just like don't watch national news anymore. And I don't talk to people who are really into the news.
That was the
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
That was the thing. I used to like be super involved into that, and at one point I just cut it out and I just stopped entirely. And I'm like, you know what? This is a lot better. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not as like super involved with like shit I can do nothing about.
Right, because it's like mentally like exhausting, like seeing all the negative shit like on the news and stuff. And then it's like you think about
Yeah.
your own existence and it's like, wow, there are things going on. There are horrendous things going on in this world and I'm just here. What do I do?
And you can't like do anything about it, and then you get guilty about not being able to do anything about it, and you're like, oh, maybe I should like volunteer somewhere, and then that doesn't happen.
Right.
Well, there's a situation where like people will get so invested into something, and it's like it'll be like this headline, and it's like coming from New York City, and I'm like, why are you so invested in this? Like, you realize you're in fucking like Alabama. Like, this does not apply to you whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like other states do not count.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. You don't agree with it. This really gets on your nerves. Like, shut it off. Like, shut it
I
off.
think people think there's people. I want to use the phrase chronically online, but like I don't mean it in this like.
Terminally online.
Yeah, well, it's like people
They're like
they
terminally
get
disconnected
upset
with
for
their
other
personal life.
people.
Yeah.
They get upset for other people, like something that doesn't affect you personally. They'll get upset, like if I don't know, there's some law passed in Kentucky. I don't know. That hurts somebody somewhere for some reason. Someone's going to be mad about it.
Over
The people who
empathetic.
live there should be mad about it, but the people who
Right.
don't live there don't really have any say. And like, what can they do in their state? I don't know. Just make sure that thing doesn't get passed there. But that's about it. Maybe you should focus on that instead of just being angry. It's not productive anger. It's like news media hobbyism. It's like being on a sports team, but for the news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we also had this idea that we're gonna add a segment to Woof Radio about the Twitter drama. So
Yeah.
That's the latest hot goss.
What happened this week on Twitter? Like, towards the beginning of the week, there was that story about the fish, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Fish.
Not the
Literally,
fish.
the entire furry sphere like saw it.
And then we found out it was from 6 years ago, and they've just been sitting on it.
Right, and that was my concern personally, is that this person's partner did not say anything about this story about the fish in the butt for 6 years. So
The buttfish.
the only thing I can assume is that something went wrong recently to where they weaponized the story.
Yeah,
And
like
I mean, that's the thing. It has a positive and a negative for this person. Is that now everybody knows about
Who they are.
like who's not even because here's the thing. In my mind, I now have this story about the buttfish, but I don't even remember what her Twitter handle is. And that's
I
Hmm.
don't
that's
either.
the that's the unfortunate part is that next time I come across this person, I'm like, oh, this is the person with the story about the buttfish. Like that's the memory association, and it's like that's the backfire there. Is that now you're
Yeah.
known as the person who has the partner who lived with people who put fish in their butt. That's you. That's who you are now. Like
Guilty by association.
What else happened on Twitter this week, Nitro?
what else happened on Twitter? The whole thing. I know you don't like
Oh,
Bibsy. That happened like
I
in the
don't like
first
Vivzy.
episode.
It's fine.
So Lackadaisy, which is a indie. It's an indie animation about cats, and it's like 20s. It's like 20s theme.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like Flapper
one of my
style.
favorite artists
yeah.
is actually a part of it.
So Lackadaisy hit $2 million in funding from just people
Wow.
knowing people. So they hit $2 million. So they're gonna be making a mini series on top of the first episode. And the problem with Bibsy was that she, as the studio head of Spindle Horse, decided to claim a pledge of $5,000, which would have gotten her in the credits as a special
Producer,
producer,
right?
and
Yeah.
that didn't sit well with the Lackadaisy team. So she ended up getting her donation canceled, and now the fan bases. The way things go with fan bases, they always get really crazy, and now they're having a little civil war thing, which I'm not
Stupid.
involved with. I'm not gonna die on a hill for Bibsy or Lackadaisy.
Yeah, I'm over on the sidelines eating popcorn.
Right. Like at the end of the day, they're all gonna produce products. Like Lackadaisy got paid $2 million, and Bibsy's doing her business stuff with channels and stuff. So honestly, all
Yeah.
this drama is pretty unnecessary. But that's just happening on Twitter, and
Fan drama.
nobody
Then there was
outside of Twitter knows. Nobody.
then there was the most recent "Don't Hug Cacti" drama
Oh
Oh
right,
yeah.
the
this week,
tiger.
probably like yesterday.
Right.
Like just because your design has the same colors doesn't mean you can't copyright a color, guys. And you can't copyright a species. Like if you
Right.
have a leopard that has spots and another character that has a similar color scheme and it's also a leopard with spots, you can't just say they're copying you because they're both leopards with spots and similar colors. Like
Mhm.
that's not how that works.
Right, because that was the issue that came up. This individual has, a tiger, and I'm sorry, all the tigers out there, but you all kind of look
You're not that
the same.
original. Sorry.
You all kind of
Right,
look the
unless you
same
have like
if you
bright
use
colors or
lipstick.
something.
Unless you're a rainbow cougar, you're not very special. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Unless you're bright, you're not special.
Like, because I've actually seen a lot of people get mistaken for Tony the Tiger, and they get super offended, and it's like, well, I'm
You're an
sorry,
orange tiger.
you look like Tony the Tiger. What do you want me to say?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's people people really gotta stop jumping on the legal threats. I keep seeing legal threats, and we already know how that ends up. It's not good. It's not good for your reputation when you start throwing legal threats that really aren't gonna have any weight to them. Because then you just end up just looking like a joke. You end
Yeah.
up looking like a Karen.
You end up being a Karen. Oh, sorry.
Um,
Sorry. Headphones. I was trying to see if I can reach around and grab my charger from my headset.
My headset.
Sorry.
Anything else?
Mubby.
Anything else I missed this week? Anything big? Besides,
Denver.
the
Denver happened last
Denver.
weekend.
the whole Denver thing where
What? There's a con going on right now, right?
Huh?
There's a con right this weekend.
For
Is it FI?
Philadelphia and Indy FurCon is this weekend.
That's yeah.
Yeah. But
Yes.
as someone who went to Denver for the last like 3 years, like it was a fine, like it was okay. It was starting to go downhill with all the bullshit between like the con chairs and all that stuff. So anyway, like the current con chair got banned from his own convention. So or from their own
Oh.
convention. And there's a lot of drama concerning that. But on top of that, the Sheridan, which is the hotel that Denver's usually at, I don't know if they went through like new management or something, but they were straight up kicking people out. They were overbooked on rooms, and people were like getting turned away, and or like people who got king rooms had to get queen rooms, and like vice versa. And it was just like a total mess. And I was like, wow, I'm kind of glad I didn't go this year. I mean, the con itself was fine, but it was just
Are you
like, yeah,
okay?
like, oh, are you okay?
no, keep talking. I was just adjusting
Oh, but
myself.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure like the con itself was like fine, but like the Sheridan totally dropped the ball, and I really hope that Denver can move to another hotel. I think they have a contract for like the next couple years or so, but oh man, like hopefully they're not bad next year. Like, and
Well,
then oh, and the funny thing, like Monday or Tuesday after the convention, the Sheridan caught on fire. So,
yeah. A boiler on the roof ended up like getting overflowed with diesel.
oh my
So I'm
God,
thinking that the Sheraton is under new management and they're not doing a great job.
right?
Wow.
As someone who
Yeah.
has a background in property maintenance.
But yeah. Also, don't sell things if you're not in the dealer's room or artist alley, and you're an idiot if you try to sell on property on a convention, because they have to hold like these tax areas and laws and stuff. And if you try to sell a
Oh,
fursuit in the con floor,
my
like,
headset's shutting down, guys.
oh no, goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Sorry. I
It's
know I'm
okay.
still here as like a disembodied voice, but that
But
went really quick.
It's transferring to Cisco Connect.
But yeah, that was another piece of drama. Was that somebody was like, "Oh, screw Denver because I couldn't sell my suit on the con floor," and it's like, well, obviously, like there's
Duh.
laws and stuff.
And
Yeah,
didn't it end up being that scammer?
yeah, and it ended up being a scammer. So, yay, furry drama.
Never ends.
Yeah.
Never ends. The camera's a lot closer now.
Oh.
I
Wow.
didn't want to tell you earlier, but you've been looking straight on to the wrong direction the whole time.
The wrong direction?
You should be looking like right here.
That's where I've been looking.
Like right now, you're like dead on staring at the camera, so that's good.
Well,
But
yeah,
like
because the camera was like over here before, right?
before, you were like staring up into space that way.
Oh. Oh well.
Oh.
It's okay.
Oh well.
Yeah.
It's a learning process. Here at Wolf Radio, we are pretty low budget, but we're learning. We're going through our little growing pains. And we
One
are
day.
looking to release a Discord server soon, courtesy of Flopsy right here. We're working
Yeah.
to get a Discord server going. So that's going to be open sometime soon.
Hopefully within the next day or two. If you would like updates, please follow at Nitro Wolf on Twitter or at WolvesRock520 on Twitter. And I'll probably post like the Discord link up on there, and then he can retweet or whatever, and all that good stuff. But yeah, we're gonna have, huh?
I've actually been really bad about updating Twitter. I've kind of left it kind of dead for now. So
Oh, we're also on Blue Sky. If you guys are into that, woo, Blue Sky.
but Blue Sky's still invite only, so you know that
Yeah.
might be a difficult advertisement approach.
Right. Our handles on Blue Sky are the same as on Twitter. So if you happen to be on there, you can follow us on there too. I'll probably post. I'll just cross post everywhere. Honestly, I'll post in the server and all that good stuff. But like, yeah, the whole main reason, and this is like kind of like my idea, but like the Woof Radio Discord would be a place like specifically for Woof Radio for topics, polls, just general like discussions, because there's a lot of people that like to watch us and like what we do, but like they don't want to talk about political stuff, and that's totally fine. But like this would be like the place to like discuss and like bounce ideas off of each other and all that good stuff. And then like community nights too, because I think that would be fun, like movie nights and all that good stuff. And like having guest speakers too, because like we'll probably have a little segment on there where you can like apply to be a guest speaker for an episode. So yeah, if you're into that, just keep following us, and I'll be posting updates and all that good stuff.
My head hurts.
So does mine. But yeah, is that it?
Wintry Mist, Synonym, who was our third chair today. I don't know if she's still on the call. She's still on the call.
Sin.
We might have lost her.
Oh no.
Anyways, you can find her on Twitter at Wintry Mist. And she'll probably have some reoccurring showings, reoccurring appearances.
I'm still here.
Oh hey. Okay.
It took me a minute. Just a disembodied voice.
Ah. We should post her link in the description below.
Yeah, I have a link tree.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm around.
Our schedule. We're trying to be better about Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern for the live show. To get the episodes posted to YouTube, because these are live. These are not pre-scripted. I mean, at some point we may have some that are pre-scripted, pre-recorded, and they're like premiere, where I like that.
Oh my god. Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Premiere.
Premiere.
Oh jeez.
Okay, so anyways, 9 p.m. Eastern, Wolf Radio. We're trying to get things
Friday
back on
nights.
schedule.
Yeah.
Friday nights, Eastern time. Our focus is typically more on the self-help side. I know she mentioned politics, but we're not really looking to focus on politics. Like, as of right now, like on my list, I have like 12 to 15 subjects, and none of them actually have politics. So at some point we might, but we're really, that's not really what the focus of this station is going to be. More the focus is like philosophical self-help, experiences, anecdotes, the whole little segment of the Twitter drama this week. Maybe we should put that up front, because maybe some people literally only want the Twitter drama.
Oh, yeah,
we should do a Twitter drama update right at the beginning.
Yeah.
The first 10 minutes is just Twitter drama. Just stuff I've seen. Which I do see a lot. Like, you'd be surprised, like...
That'll be the title of the segment, The Stuff I've Seen.
Well, it's like it's unavoidable. Like, you'll follow artists because you love their art, and like they're really good at what they do, and then they get involved in the drama, and it's like, why did you do this to me?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me check the chat real quick. One question. Who was the person with the shade sitting next to Nitro Wolf?
That was
That's Wintry
me.
Mist. Yeah, that's Wintry Mist.
That is our disembodied voice, our third chair, Wintry Mist.
I'm
Yes.
here in spirit.
Yeah, we'll put all our handles and stuff in the description. That way it's easier
No, we
to
won't.
find. Oh, okay, never mind. I guess we won't.
All
I
right, fine.
recently got a blue sky
Okay, so
code.
so that what that involves is me retroactively going back into the video manager and editing the description. What
Oh,
you're asking me to do right now is to do work.
why don't you let me do that then? Because I'm really good at that kind of stuff.
Well, you go right ahead and you edit the description to your little heart's content.
Yeah. But yeah.
Okay, I think
Okay.
we're ready to close. Frosty,
Yeah.
anything?
No, that is all. Hope you all have a wonderful night, and yeah, stay tuned for the next episode. Bye.
Ghost of Synonym? Anything?
I don't know. Boundaries are hard. Don't give yourself too much shit. Bye.
All right, yeah. I guess that'll be my closing message. Is nobody was born knowing how to do boundaries, so it's if you don't have any, it's gonna be painful. You're gonna have the growing pains, but trust me, if you follow through with it and you help yourself by refining your boundaries and understanding that your time is finite, you're gonna have a better quality of life. So, getting to the point where you make these decisions and you're better about the control you have over what you can control. Like, I understand there's stuff that you can't control, like, relationships, like work relationships. Like, you're gonna be forced into situations you can't get out of. You can't just sit there and say no, 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 no. Like,
Mhm.
you're gonna have to say yes to like work stuff in some situations, but understand where those limits are when it pertains to your workplace. Like, obviously, don't let anybody use you as a stepping stool for them to further themselves in the workplace. Like, obviously, set boundaries there too, where you're still following the rules. Because we didn't really hit the workplace. Then again, we're really talking about the furry space, but a lot of
Mhm.
furries have to go to work, I guess. So
Yeah.
it takes work. It takes work and commitment to better yourself. So don't give up. You're worth. You're worth. I feel like that needs more to it, but just understand that self-worth doesn't immediately come to you. It takes work and it's painful work. And half of it is trial and error, and the other half is educating yourself to try to guide yourself in the direction where you're gonna start telling yourself, this is how I want my life to be, not how other people want it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. Thanks for joining, guys. This was Wolf Radio. We got Frosty in second chair, Synonym in third. I'm Nitro, your host. We'll catch you in the next one. See you next Friday. Good night.
Bye.